Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, now I will talk about what happened and why I've been away for 3 months. It's a long story and a little bit of a painful one, physically and mentally. So I think the last video I uploaded was when I was skiing in Switzerland, and then I went back to London and I had to do quite a few things and planning and packing and with the move. So as some of you who watch my channel regularly might know, that in the last few years I've been thinking about moving and leaving London. So there was a lot of stuff that was going on, and then I went skiing to Italy, and on the last day of my skiing, it was my third season, like third time ever skiing. I really love it and enjoy it, and it was like it became my biggest passion, and I got really good very quickly. So I got a bit cocky and carried away, and I went down a black slope, which was a very stupid move, because even though it wasn't very far from the rest of the slopes, it was just right next to the others, so there were lots of people, but it was very steep and it was completely ice. As I went down it, I couldn't slow down, I couldn't stop, and I thought it's okay, once it's a straight patch I will slow down. But at the end of that black steep drop there was a ramp. So for good skiers, they would just go down and up the ramp, fly in the air and land. For someone who doesn't know how to do that, I went through the ramp and went up in the air about 10-15 meters and then landed and broke my leg. So as I landed back on the ground, I blacked out. Once I woke up from the blackout, I realized that I had broken my leg, because there was a lot of pain, but I didn't know what. But it wasn't just the leg, I had broken my hip joint, and they had to airlift me in a helicopter to the nearest hospital, where they did the x-rays, and then they said, you've broken your hip joint and unfortunately we can't fix it, we have to do a hip replacement. And I was in a government hospital, and it was not bad actually. I'll talk about that in a separate video. But then after 2 days, because they had such a long waiting list, it was a hospital next to the ski resort, so they had a lot of ski injuries, and they said, well, it's going to be at least 5 days before we can get to you and operate. So I was just in so much pain and agony. I have to say, I have never experienced so much pain in my life. It was like every slightest movement hurt like hell, and in the end I decided that I need to go to a bigger city, to a different hospital. So I went to a private hospital, and the next day had the surgery and had a hip replacement. And it took a good 2 months on crutches, rehabilitation. At the same time, I had to come to Sweden to sign the papers for this house, because I had put down a down payment and bought the house, but I hadn't finalized everything, and there was a date that was set where I had to come and basically take possession, take the keys and make the rest of the payment and basically take over the house. So I came over with a crutch, or 2 crutches actually, to Sweden, and then also at the same time my car that I had ordered arrived, so I had to pick that up. And it was just so much. I'll talk about the car in another video, because I haven't talked about the new car. But a lot has happened. So I sold the Range Rover, I sold the Porsche, and as you know, I talked about changing my lifestyle and the things that I've been doing and not being on autopilot. So right now I'm trying to follow my own advice and do the things that I tell other people to do. Lead a simpler life. So I've been here now for 2 weeks, and I really love it. Even though there's no one around, and I thought well, no, I didn't think. People said that I'll be so bored and on my own and lonely, and nothing at all. I have a family friend's son here who's helping me unpack and set up the house. He's on a summer holiday and he has a month before he goes traveling, so he said I can come with you and sort out the house and lift the heavy things, because I'm still not allowed to lift heavy stuff. I don't have to use crutches anymore, but I still it hurts. I still have a little bit of a limp because they cut the muscles to insert the prosthetic hip. So usually people have a hip replacement when they're 70, 75, and then they have 15 years of their life left. Whereas I had it done now. It's going to be another hip replacement in 15 years, because the lifespan of a hip joint, the prosthetic one, is 15 years, they told me. So they said here that I would have to have a revision, which means something I'm not looking forward to. So the house that I bought, I think I talked about it in one of my previous videos. It's about 100 years old. I think the last time they did anything on the house was 2001, from looking at the paperwork, which is more than 21, 22 years ago. And so I had to do a lot of work. I had the bathroom replaced, a lot of painting, carpentry, doors. The lady who lived here was disabled, so there were no doors in the house and there were ramps everywhere. There's still a ramp at the front, which I will have removed at some point. But yeah, I'll do a house tour and show you what it's like at some point. Right now, it's a total mess. It's a disaster with boxes and stuff everywhere. So going back to the story that I was talking about, what I did in the last 2-3 months, it was mainly packing, speaking to lawyers, sorting out various carpenters, electricians, plumbers, other builders, painters, ordering things, getting stuff delivered in Sweden. Everything was in Swedish, so all the emails that I was getting, I had to use Google Translate to translate them to English, then write the response in English and then translate it back to Swedish, send it. So it was a lot of hard work, much more than I thought it would be, but now it's finally done. When we got here, the bathroom wasn't complete and they had removed the water pump, so for the first 5 days we had no water. Coming from London, from a luxurious 5-bedroom house with all modern conveniences, to the countryside in Sweden with nothing, was not bad. I have to say, I thought it would be an absolute nightmare. If you see that little hand pump over there, that's what we were using for water. And even though it's like between 25 and 30 degrees outside, it's really warm and hot because it's summertime. The water coming from that well was about 4 degrees max. It was freezing cold, so cold. But we had a little kettle for making tea, so we would warm the water up in the kettle and put in the bucket to make it warm enough to then have a shower. So that's how we survived. There were times when we had to go to the shopping malls or supermarkets to go to the toilet. There is like 100-year-old, or I don't know, 60, 70-year-old toilet at the back of the woodshed. So on the other side of the house there's a woodshed for winter where you store all the wood, and there's a toilet behind it, which is one of those really, really old toilets which has a cassette thing under it, so there's a bag and a tray and things, so on the top it's like a toilet. Never ever thought I would have to use that, but 5 days, yeah, you give up and you use it, anything that's available to you. So yeah, but they're still mowing the lawn, painting. The paint that was done over the period while, oh, my arm. So the paint work that was done wasn't done very well. I don't know. I mean, it was a friend who did it for me, so I can't really blame him because I don't think his intention was not to do a good job. But the paint started to peel off in various places, and I have to redo a lot of it. So we're scraping off the parts where it's coming off and redoing it. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, and yeah, but I'm really happy. Today I went to Gothenburg, which is an hour and a half from here, to do some stuff, and I realized I don't like being in a city anymore. I'm so happy being here. It's so peaceful and quiet. Now I go to sleep at 10:30 at night, and I wake up at 5 a.m. and the sunset and sunrise is so beautiful here. It's because it's so high up in latitude. You have a very long sunset, so the sun doesn't just set. The sun goes down, and for like 2-3 hours you see the sunset. It's really amazing. But yeah, the house needs a lot of work, and there's a huge massive barn which I have some ideas and plans. I'll show you a little bit. This is what it looks like. It's currently in a really bad state. It's dangerous. There's a lot of weed and stuff growing next to it, but I'm going to have the barn torn down and redone. So hopefully this will be a very lovely place to live. There's a little conservatory thing here, which again, in a very bad state. It needs to be torn down and changed. I think I might just convert it to maybe tear it down and put a sauna in here. Yeah, that could be a nice thing. So that's the update so far. I mean, I've just summarized a lot of stuff that I did over 3 months into, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, which is not possible because there's so much that happened in London. So I have a house and an apartment in London. I tried to sell them both, but because of the housing market issues and the interest rate issues, I couldn't get any decent offers. So I had to find tenants and rent them out. And yeah, it was just like every single day I had so much stuff to do. I was stressed out as hell. I couldn't walk. I didn't have enough muscle power. I couldn't lift weights. I had to do packing. I had to pack the whole house up. And then eventually I bought this thing. It's a little trailer. Well, I say little, it's the size of a van. So this baby really helped because I filled it up, took it to Belgium to my sister's house, left the stuff that I don't need immediately at her place, and then went back to London, packed the rest of the stuff that I wanted to bring here, and then brought it to Sweden. I still have to go back to Belgium to pick up the stuff, and I still have to do one more trip to London because there's so much furniture that is antique stuff and paintings and things that I didn't have the space to bring, so I'll have to go back and do it. But it's 2,000 kilometers each way, and I don't know if I want to do it on my own or anytime soon. So yeah, it's nice to have a huge big garden, but also that means a lot of maintenance, and I'm highly allergic to grass and pollen, so that means some other issues that I'll have to deal with. But yeah, gosh, I haven't even come to the garden, to this part, and I can see there are lots of, like, I don't know, weeds or plants or I don't know what is growing here. All needs to be fixed at some point, but it's mine. I love it, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I made this decision. Ooh, my first flare. YouTubers are always talking about flares. Yeah. Yeah, it's just such a lovely, calm, soothing place. You come here and all your problems seem to go away. And I think I needed this for a very long time. I can just open the door and let my dog out without worrying where he's gonna go, because he can't go anywhere. There's nothing around. It's just farms and sheep and no sheep, cows. And so yesterday painted this side and it looks now clean and fresh. This I will do at some point, but as you can see, there are patches and pieces. You can see some undercoat showing from there. Yeah, generally it's not as good as I hoped it would be, but it is what it is. What can you do? If I was here when this was being done, I think I would have noticed these things and said something, but since I wasn't here, couldn't do much. Yeah, just noticed there's grass growing right next to the house, weeds and all that needs to be cut. And this is the view. So when I step out of the house, this is what I look at. Oh, there is a house in the distance that I didn't notice before. The white one, I don't know if you can see, really far away. But yeah, this is it. Once again, thanks for watching. Until the next one.